Hey there, today's video is how I turned a 55-gallon food grade drum into a continuous flow worm bin. Uh, I saw this idea from Captain Matt's channel. He has quite the following and I keep an eye on his stuff too, but he did this with one of the dumpsters that the garbage trucks pick up, and it was rectangular, square, whatever. But this being a round barrel, it promoted a few issues. So anyhow, this is what I ended up with here. My messy basement. But this is it, basically. I used a 3/4 inch PVC pipe going from front to back. You can see there. And then when I was drilling the holes along the side here, I got overzealous. I put a couple holes there that I couldn't use because it would have taken too much of the drum material off closer to the edge. And the whole idea behind this is that as you fill this with bedding and worms, the worm castings are on the bottom, and you don't want a large void. These are mostly about 1 inch apart, and that's what I've seen is about what most of them are, as far as that goes. But yeah, I had to do some jerry rigging here. I had some of these smaller PVC pipe. Well, it's a different kind of pipe, but that I use for hoops in my raised beds. So I had some of these laying around. So I just drilled some holes in the 3/4 inch PVC. Then I sealed it, because I know how worms like to get in small tight places. So I caulked all of this and I glued these things in so they're nice and stable. Because what you end up doing here, when I start harvesting this bin, I'll use a tool such as this to get between the tines of the bottom of the bin to loosen up the castings so they fall down in here. Oh! So this will just fit up in here or something similar. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you can just drag through here and harvest the castings, right? That's the idea. As you might be able to see here too, free is written on that barrel. I got this at a meat market in Baraboo a couple years ago, and I was going to make a rain barrel out of it, but that didn't happen, so I figured I'd do this instead. And actually it turned out all right. I put it on wheels. And I know that worm castings, they get quite heavy, especially when they're wet. So I extended these bottom 2x4s out so it's more stable. It won't be tippy. Well, at least I hope not. So anyhow, now it's time for me to fill this guy. So I'm going to pause this and start with the first thing. And actually, the first thing I'm going to do is put down some heavy paper and then some cardboard, and I'll show you how that worked out. Alright, I soaked some, this was just a bag that I collected leaves in this fall that I keep, and some this is really heavy duty cardboard here. And what you want to do is block the worm bedding from falling through initially, giving the worms a place to be without ending up in the bottom of the drum. So okay, so that's part A. Now the next thing I'm going to do, here's the bedding that I made, and it's a combination of leaf mold, compost, some fresh shredded leaves, and then a couple scoops of well, probably more than that, a few scoops of existing worm bin from over there, and I let this sit for about, it's been sitting for about 4 days now. You can see there's a piece of lobster shell there, or crab shell, one of the two. So I'm gonna get this in the bin. All right, now that's about, I got all that in there. There was about 5 gallons, I think, of material. Somewhere close to that, maybe a little more. And my lighting here is terrible, but that's how it's kind of sit. It's not that deep. It's only about an inch and a half at the most, and it's really wet too. Now the best part here, these are worms I took from my other bins, and actually I had these taken out a few days ago, and most of them crawled out, but I got them all back in the last couple days. But yeah, there's a lot of nice worms in here. Some nice guys in there. A lot of worms. I don't know, I'm guessing a couple thousand anyhow. I'm just, yes, and then you get into a ball like that. Yeah, there's a good number of worms in here. And as I continue to fill this bin with bedding in that, I'll be adding more worms along the way. So I will put these guys in there. All right, the worms have been in here for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, and they're starting to migrate down a bit. Again, this material is really wet, way wetter than I keep my stuff normally inside during the winter. But that's what I'm doing. Now it's time to feed the little guys. So here, this is some crab legs we had New Year's that I ground up. So they're gonna get a nice little dose of chitin here. And the other thing I'm going to start feeding my worms is organic chicken starter. I wanted for the adult chickens, but they didn't have any where I went, and I didn't want to use I wanted organic, and I guess it really wouldn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference, but I paid a little extra money for it and got this instead. And actually it's already pretty crumbly, but I went ahead and put it through a grinder, and it turned it into really fine powder. So that's what they're gonna have for their first feeding here, and I'm not gonna be cheap with it either. Yeah, you want these guys to really start feeding and breaking down this material that I have in there for them. And the next step, I'm going to I cut some paper, again the recycling bag for the leaves. I cut some of that and some bubble wrap, and I'm going to put that in next. Alright, so this is how I cover all my bins. I don't use like when I cut this out, it wouldn't have fit on top anyhow, unless I took part of the barrel with it. But I decided this is how I always keep my bins, just with some heavy paper, cardboard, and bubble wrap. And something interesting I found about bubble wrap that's really nice about bubble wrap, not just plastic, is the bubbles will allow some air in here, so the plastic doesn't just adhere to the paper or cardboard. So it is allowing some air in there, which is a good thing. So yeah, well, my bin is finally started. What's the date? 5th of January. But yeah, you know, you can buy a continuous flow bin. There's a couple that I saw, urban worm bin. I forget. what's his name? The guy that has Vermicasting Learn by Doing, I believe is his channel. He has an urban worm bag, and they're $140. Then I saw this other continuous flow system. It's called a Hungry Bin, and that's $370. Well, I'll tell you exactly what I have into this. The barrel was free. The PVC, the wheels, I bought good wood. I could have used crappy wood that I had in the garage. I think I'm gonna make it nice. I got about $70 total in this. All right. I had a handle laying around. I just threw that in there, but for $70, I was at a big box store the other day, and the garbage dumpsters that the trucks pick up, they cost anywhere from $75 to $130. So, I don't know. And I guess the capacity of this is about 35 gallons. So that's how much material this can hold. 35 gallons worth of stuff. But so yeah, we'll see. And then as this matures, and I guess it takes about 6 months before you can start using it, or I just have this down here, and I'll be able to just scrape those castings out and have a bunch of castings. All right, so this is my continuous flow worm bin, and I'm glad it's finally cooking, so to speak. So hope all is well, and have a good day. Bye now.